Hey everyone, Adam here from BoLS here with the brand new Hellboy board game from Mantic Games and Dark Horse Comics. I'm pretty excited about this one. I saw the plastic wrap off. I haven't opened this up, but if you're unfamiliar, this is a board game inspired by the awesome comic Hellboy by Mike Mignola. And again, it's a fully cooperative experience for 1 to 4 players. You are part of the BPRD, the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, and you're going to be investigating some occult threats and take them out Hellboy style. So if you can't tell, I'm pretty pumped about this one. I'm a kind of a fan, so I'm ready to go. So let me dive in here, get this plastic wrap off, and take a look inside. Alright, hopefully that took care of a lot of that glare you guys were seeing. Sorry about that, but here we go. Alright, Hellboy stuff. Read this first. We're going to come back to that. Yes, that's kind of the getting started guide. We've got more rules, which we will flip through here. The catalog, of course, a couple of great games from Mantic. That's Dungeon Saga and Star Saga. If you're looking for some fun dungeon crawl adventures. I'm not sure what this is. These are probably character cards, if I can guess from that. And we get into some tokens and some of the board. Okay, we'll take a look at that too. Here's what you really wanted to see, which were those models. Okay, so these are nice. I like the packaging here. They're in their own self-contained things here. We've got a Cthulhu-esque, not really, kind of a beast here with some tentacles, and another beastie here. I'm sure we'll find out what these are here in a moment. As you can see here, pretty nice detail on these sculpts too. It's kind of a harder plastic. It's got a little bit of give to it, but I don't want to tug too hard on that, which is good to know. And then this other creature here, ugh, very creepy. What else do we got? More Cretans to deal with for Hellboy, and these are taped in. There's a little bit of tape underneath here, which is why I have my handy dandy X-Acto knife. Slice that there. This game does look like it has. On the bottom too. Does look like it has its own set of dice. It's like a D1, 2, and a blank. A D3. Then we've got yellow dice, which are just ones on a couple of facings here, about 50-50. Some crosses, don't know what that one's for. And then we also have a red die, which is a D3 with some blanks, essentially 1, 2, 3, and then some blanks, and a blue die, which has got some BPRD symbols, ×2, kind of a redo. I don't know what that's for. We'll find out. On top of that, we have all of these here minis, which we've got the boy himself, Hellboy. I like that. It's got some little bit of heft to it. It's a good hard plastic, nice sharp mini. I really like the look of Hellboy. They capture the Fist of Doom really well. That big old gun he carries. You can see his tail there too. And some of the other characters we've all come to know and love. So, very cool. Is that Abe Sapien? Maybe Liz with the fire, I'm not sure. And then a cultist, which is, if I had to guess, probably Rasputin, but I don't know for sure. And then we've got some goons that look like demon/fish dudes. Yeah. Let me keep going here. Here we have more stuff in the box. We've got, these are probably player tokens. Put these on your minis. Put the minis inside. This is similar to some stuff we've seen before. I think this is appropriate. I'm going to take the red one, and I'm pretty sure Hellboy is going to slide in just fine. Yep, kind of like that. We've got some pegs, probably for your character card to help keep track of stuff. Some more red dots. I'm not sure what that's for. Hey, you, read this first. These are the decks of cards or case files that you should have 6 in this box. These are BPRD classified, so don't open them yet. Each case file is a different scenario you can play, and the first time you play it, it should be a surprise. So no peeking until the time is right. The game will tell you when to open them. This case file is the least complex and is used in the tutorial. We recommend that you that you put the others back in the box. Maybe just forget they exist for now. So, case files, stop. We're not going to open that, so but you get the idea. More case files, stop. Case files, stop. Case files, you guessed it, stop it. So there are the 5 other case files, and then of course we've got the basic 6 one here. So we're just going to move all these out. We got a plastic bag too, probably for components and such. We've got a couple of decks here. This looks like obviously an encounter deck with some other stuff. And Deck of Doom, that sounds ominous. I don't know what else is in here, but we'll find out. And that's everything in the box. Let's gonna slide back down there. I like the packaging overall. It's pretty compact and neat. It's pretty easy cleanup and setup here. Everything's got a place, which I appreciate. Let's go ahead and open some of this other stuff up. I want to take a look at those boards in particular. Okay, I've got everything opened up. For right now, we're going to go through just some of the punch outs and things like that. This is the one that we saw already. These are all the punch outs. So we've got different tokens here representing clues, and we've got clues and inferno counters. You have 9 of those, and then insight counters as well. And those are front and back, as you can see there. We've got room tiles up next. We have a couple of different styles of room tiles. Did not mean to rhyme that, but it did. We've got also like damage markers and things like that coming up here. There's the damage markers. We've got the A, B, C, D, E, F. These are trigger markers. They'll be used for part of the scenario, which we'll get into. That goes on the confrontation board, which we're getting to here. I also got things like doors and different terrain effects too. Bonus agents, which you can those backup agents that can help out as well. More tokens, and again, these are front and back, so you'll have different styles depending on the case file that you are working. You'll get it'll tell you which ones to pull out and set up for the board. So they're front and back, so you get more use out of them there. This is the confrontation board. There's a tracker here. It's going to help you keep track of the Doom, and then some other stuff down here, which we'll get to in a bit. And there's the other side, depending on which version you're playing. And again, more tiles. Let's take a look at the heroes that we'll be playing as. These are the different investigators. We've got, of course, Hellboy. We've got Abe Sapien. If you've seen the Guillermo del Toro movies, you know who I'm talking about here. We also have Liz Sherman. She's the kind of pyromancer. She can manipulate flame. And then Johann Kraus, which is the dead guy. He's kind of a ghost. So it's pretty cool. We've got different abilities here. Let me read real quick kind of what the stats mean up top. We've got skill icons up here, kind of tell you what they're good at. We've got special rules. Each one's got section of special rules. For example, Hellboy here has seen it all before. Once per round, Hellboy spends an action cube to upgrade a test die on examine tests for himself or another upgrade 2 dice rather than just 1. He's also fire resistant and can shake it off. Everybody's got different abilities like that. We also have unique actions, which everybody has, which are pretty handy. Health track, which is this section right here. This is going to keep track of how many hits each person can tank. Hellboy's got 6 health track. Abe's got, it looks like 5. Johann only has 4, but he's got some special abilities there. And then Liz looks like she's got 3 and then 2 more. So I'm guessing this is just a coloring thing, but she looks like she's got 5 total as well. So Hellboy's clearly the tank of the group. Put these aside, and then they all have, again, more artwork on the back. Pretty cool. And when you play, you get to pick which investigator you want to play as. The decks that we opened up, we have the Deck of Doom, which there's actually a bunch of different cards in this pack. As you can see, we've got boss behavior, Deck of Doom, different enemies, stuff like that. The way these are set up is they're all marked with different symbols. And that's going to be based on what scenario you're playing. It'll tell you which ones to pull to create your Deck of Doom and your boss encounters and stuff like that. which is pretty smart. So the deck of doom, there's a total of 27 cards there. The enemy cards, there's another 4 enemy cards. There's also boss cards, which there are 4 of, and then the boss behavior cards, there's like 16 of those in this pack. We also have this small deck of cards, which is a mix of encounter cards and starting cards, depending on who you're playing as. And it's got some reinforcement cards and stuff like that, like requisition icons or requisition cards that you can get. This is just going to, again, be built based on kind of the character you're playing and the scenario. Cards will tell you how to set all these up. There's 42 encounter cards total in there as well. There are 2 rules packets to go through. We've got the tutorial, which you should actually read through first, and then, of course, the core rules. We're going to come back to these. I like that it's kind of like a comic book, by the way. It's a nice little callback, too. Anyway, this is going to take you through some of the basics and kind of walk you through what everything is. Again, it'll talk about the case file deck. You should start with the first one that we saw. That's the starter scenario for tutorial, and this will tell you how to set up everything initially. It'll go through case files, the HQ board, how that works. The gist of the game basically is you're going to be playing as investigators, and you're going to be one of the investigators. You're going to be playing as investigators with a team of investigators, or just if you want to play solo. You're going to be going to a case. You're going to be working a case file. It's going to tell you how to set up the board initially. Every time it'll tell you, check the case file or pull a new card from the case file. Do what that card says immediately. Whatever the card says, it'll tell you how to set stuff up. But you're going to get the board set up. The goal of the game is to fight the boss. Every game of Hellboy ends with a big confrontation. This is the big cinematic showdown between your agents and the boss. There's a couple of different ways to trigger that confrontation. The worst possible way is if all of the investigators get knocked out. If everybody's KO'd, they all wake up, in air quotes, at the same time with the boss approaching and it's time to throw down. That is not how you want to do the fights for the boss. That's not a good thing. The most common way is that the confrontation is going to trigger based off of the impending doom marker, which we saw from the impending doom track. Once it hits that particular marker or number, the boss will attack. In some case files, there's also another way to trigger that, which is way more advantageous for the players. This is where you're going to be investigating to find clues so that you can get the drop and get surprise on the boss, which is kind of a big deal. If you've seen any Hellboy movies, you know that if you can get to the bad guys before they're ready, it's much better for the heroes. So that's the gist. They're going to be investigating on the board, fighting enemies, finding clues. Once they find the clues, it's going to advance tracks and stuff like that up to the point where, boom, the boss fight happens, and then you're going to be thrown down against the boss. So that's basically the gist, the overall idea. And this actually goes through some of the gameplay here, which is going to go through the agent phase. A game of Hellboy has a number of rounds, and probably be on the case file for your total rounds, and it's broken down into 5 different phases. The enemy phase acts first, then the agents go. There's a rest phase where you're going to get to recuperate and replace stuff, kind of like a refresh phase. The doom phase when you're going to advance the doom track and things like that. And then, of course, the end phase, just kind of clean up any other stuff. That's a basic round. The first turn of the game, you're going to basically skip the enemy phase because there are no enemies, and you'll get right into the agent phase, which is where you're going to be doing your stuff. Basically, you're going to have 3 action cubes in this setup. You'll start with 3 action cubes. You can use those to do actions. They can be done in any order. There's no turn order either between players. You could spend, in this scenario, it's Abe and Hellboy. So Abe could spend all 3 of their actions, and followed by 3 by Hellboy, or Abe could spend 3 actions or 2 actions, and then Hellboy could take a turn, and vice versa, however you want to do it every round. There's just some free actions which don't cost any clues. One of those in this example is like the explore action, which will help you gather clues. But that's basically the gist of it. You're going to roll your dice when you do get to a fight with enemy. It's going to tell you which dice to roll based on your skills, your skill set. You can upgrade dice as well. So it's actually, it looks pretty neat. Again, I'm going kind of quick here. All the big rules are here. It's more in depth, so you can go through each one. For example, talking about the agent phase, your options: move, fight, shoot, examine, clear, and interact. Your basic fight actions when the agent tests fight with the following modifiers. So we'll skip back to fight on page 11, which will show you how. I love that it's all great artwork throughout the game too, or throughout the book. This is basically how your tests work. You've got the basic die is yellow. You can upgrade your dice to get all the way to that black dice, which is the best one. But that dice can only be obtained by upgrading a red die. If your yellow is downgraded, it's discarded and not rolled. So you can lose dice as well. There's also the effect die, which has those different symbols on it. It's got the skull, which is a catastrophe. Discard the highest scoring test die, which is bad. You got a +1, a +2. Those are self-explanatory. There's a reroll option. There's a double option, double the highest scoring test die. And then the BPRD, it's a wild card. It lets you pick any other result from this list and apply it. So that's pretty handy. There's also ways to boost and assist your friends, but that's the gist. You're going to be getting your dice pool, rolling those dice, trying to hit the target number and overcome it, and then you hopefully succeed. If not, the bad guy's going to win. So do better, folks. But yeah, it's going to go through all of the basics here again with visibility, line of sight, enemy phase, how that's going to work. There are enemy behavior cards, which will help kind of be like AI for the enemies as well. And then the rest phase, that's where agents can prepare, they can do rest actions, prepare, and then advance the impending doom. Also let you heal up, which is important in this game because it is a lot of combat going on there. So, and then of course just the end phase there. So, but yeah, that's the gist of it here. There's a quick reference guide on the back, which once you play through a game or play through the tutorial, which they recommend, it's going to make a lot more sense. But yeah, that's the gist of it. That is Hellboy. I'm pretty pumped about this game just because, like I said, big fan of Hellboy. Go check this one out. Again, this one is from Mantic. We've got a lot of really cool stuff. They knocked it out of the park with the Walking Dead game, so I'm pretty excited about this new one from them. So go check it out. That's Hellboy the Board Game. I'm Adam here for BoLS. Thanks for watching. Click to subscribe. Check out more videos. And thanks for watching.